Hello, Philadelphia Rebels fans, and welcome back for another episode of our Coaches Show here. Andrew McGuinness, play-by-play voice of the Philadelphia Rebels, joined alongside, as always, head coach Justin Hale. Coach, thanks so much for joining us now as we move into the back part of the regular season. Obviously, two very important series since we last spoke. The first one, I'm sure it had to feel like a playoff series going against the New Hampshire team, and you guys are chasing right now for that last playoff spot.
Yeah, it was. New Hampshire's a strong team. We knew we were going to have our hands full. We showed up ready to go as far as, off the bus, and I thought we executed for 55 minutes. And as has been the theme, unfortunately, in certain games, they were able to capitalize down the stretch. So it was one of those things as a talking point that, as you mentioned, it's a playoff series, and so you can't dwell on it. You can be upset as a competitor, but you have to be able to turn the page pretty quick because the next game was equally, if not more important. And to the guys' credit in the room, they answered the bell and they showed up and they played, a complete hockey game and learned again from some of the hard lessons the last few weekends of trying to maintain the lead. And we held on. We were able to get the point in overtime and then capitalized when we had the opportunity, special teams, to get that 4-on-3 goal. So that was nice to see from the guys. Yeah,
big goal, of course, there from Charles Panchisin to get the victory in that game. And then you guys obviously followed that one up with two strong performances over the weekend against the Elmira Aviators. Obviously, I know it had been a while since you guys had swept the series, going all the way back to December 6th and 7th against the Maine Nordiques, and a sweep on the road as well, too. How important were those factors for you guys, getting those monkeys off the back?
It was great. It, as when it's 8 consecutive splits, I think is what it was, you start to, again, that frustration level creeps in that, we're close to earning those sweeps or we're close to additional points. As we know, every point, matters at this time of the year. And so being able to go on the road where we've had our struggles and find four points. I think we've talked as a team, each of these, unfortunate kind of circumstances where we've maybe given up a lead or where we've had a tough road series in the past, earlier in the season, those are learning opportunities, and it's prepared us to now, when we get those moments of truth, to, capitalize, execute, and come out on the right side of things.
And one player has been racking up the points as of late has been Charlie Spencer, someone who went through a long scoring drought during the middle of the year, but it really seems like his game has come around, and it certainly showed last week against Elmira. 4 points for him, East's third star of the week. What have you seen from him that's allowed him to step up over these last couple series?
A great accomplishment, being the third star of the week for Charlie, well deserved. He's a guy that just comes to work every single day. Any first-year player is going to go through that natural adjustment from youth hockey to junior hockey, and Charlie has always possessed the physical tools, the traits, to be a really good hockey player and to play at a high level. And so it was just kind of that natural, you get to Thanksgiving, Christmas, the game starts to slow down, you start to understand what works, what doesn't work, and then continue to add different pieces to his game and elements to make him a more well-rounded player. I think he's done a good job with that in the second half, and now he's able to just kind of let loose and play, and again, that's where the skill set and the ability are able to come through.
Yeah, certainly a skilled player, and certainly with lots of great hockey in his future with the Rebels. But now we'll move on and talk with a couple members of the Rebels team who are nearing the end of their times with the team as they prepare to age out of the North American Hockey League. I think with captains Brock Jones and Charles Panchisin and assistant captain Bryce Strand next. All right, we thank Coach Hale, of course, for rewinding it these last two series. And now we move on to meet with the three-year members of the Philadelphia Rebels. And we'll start off with one of the two captains, Brock Jones. Brock, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And it's obviously been great to watch you throughout this season, but especially as of late. You've got 6 goals now since February 7th. It really seems like that part of your game is really starting to come around. But what's changed for you in that area?
No, nothing really. I just trusted the process, Play with 2 really good players, Charles Panchisin and Cesar Bjork. So they've just been finding me, and I've just been burying it. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly great to see what you've done with those guys, both not only this year, but obviously over the course of your 3 years with the team. What sort of legacy do you hope that you leave with the Rebels as your time with the team winds down?
Yeah, no, we're just we're making this playoff push, and that's all of our goal right now. So we hope we can make it as far as Blaine, Robertson Cup. So it all starts with this weekend against Maryland. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, it's a big next couple weeks for us. So it's gonna be good.
Absolutely, and excited to see that pursuit, of course, which begins, as you said, against Maryland this weekend. You guys will be donning the special Slapshot jerseys this weekend. You have a favorite hockey movie or show or sports show that you've grown up watching and enjoyed?
Yeah, no, definitely Slapshot, for sure. Yeah, good movie.
Yep,
yeah.
Fitting then. All right, look forward to seeing you in those jerseys as the Rebels take on the Black Bears this weekend. Now, Charles and Bryce coming up after this. All right, joined by Captain 2 of 2 for your Philadelphia Rebels here, Charles Panchisin. Charles, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely great to have you back here, especially off the back of some heroics for you a couple weekends ago. Huge overtime winner for you against New Hampshire. Maybe the biggest goal for the Rebels so far this season. What did you see there on that play?
We had a play set up. We ran it before. Caesar hit the one-timer. Actually went in, but they said Jonesy was in the crease, so they called it off. But then we ran that same play again, and I kind of read that, they were taking away the pass, so I just decided to shoot it. Happened to go in.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to see it, certainly. And obviously you've had a lot of big goals and performances throughout the course of your Rebels career, which is fortunately starting to get closer and closer to the end of it. What do you hope to be remembered for as you get ready to finish up your Rebels playing career over the next couple of weeks and hopefully months?
Kind of just being the team that makes the playoff push and kind of makes it to the playoffs.
All right, well, we certainly look forward to seeing you making that push. Of course, it begins this weekend against Maryland. Asked Brock Jones already. He said Slapshot. Do you have a favorite hockey or sports movie or show that you've grown up with?
Yeah, it got to be a Miracle.
Yeah,
100%.
I agree with that, for sure. All right, the two captains are done now. We got one more player to meet with, and that's Rebels alternate captain Bryce Strand coming up. All right, last but certainly not least here, we're joined by Rebels defenseman Bryce Strand. Bryce, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and obviously you played a really good two-way game throughout this entire season for the Rebels, but had a big offensive performance a couple weekends ago against New Hampshire with a 2-assist game. What was working for you that night?
Just getting into our forwards and letting them make plays, and they scored, so.
All right, nice and simple there, of course. Obviously, like with Brock and Charles, you've been with the Rebels for all 3 seasons of the team's existence. How special is that for you to really see this club build itself up from the ground, especially as part of the leadership group this year?
It's been fun, and I think, like what Charles said, we're both kind of just looking to be the team that finally makes playoffs and makes a push here.
Absolutely. Only 7 games to go. Obviously, certainly some big ones coming up for you guys starting this weekend against Maryland with the Slapshot jerseys on the entire. You have any favorite hockey or sports movies or shows that you've grown up with?
I'd say it'd have to be Miracle.
Gotcha. Yeah, I strongly agree with that, as well as I did with Charles. All right, Bryce, thanks so much for joining us this week. We'll be back now with Coach Hale to discuss what's to come for the Rebels as they make that playoff push. All right, back here alongside head coach Justin Hale here with just 7 games left to go in the regular season. Obviously, the Rebels still fighting hard, trying to make a push for one of those last playoff spots here in the East Division. Obviously, big games coming up the rest of the way here. First, at home this weekend against a very talented Maryland team. What do you expect from them this weekend?
Tough series. They're deep. They're big. They have good defenders. They have good goaltending. Both their goalies are high caliber, whether it's USHL property or Division I talent. So it's going to be more of the same of what we've talked about. We're going to have to put together 60 full minutes. We're going to have to be able to match their physicality, their compete level, and they're a team that likes to funnel pucks to the net from everywhere on the ice, and so having kind of that no shot mentality the best we can and limit their chances from dangerous areas.
Yeah, one way to obviously take advantage of, well, not take advantage of, but to beat a really good team like that is to take advantage of your special teams opportunities, and your power play, which really struggled on the road for most of this year, is clicking. 4 straight games with a goal, all of them on the road. What have you seen from them over those last couple series that you hope continues here going back home now?
Some of it has been, again, outside of maybe a guy here or there, the continuity has gotten there. The chemistry, some of the reads or predictability of where certain guys are going to be, when they're going to be, I think has affected some of that. The other part of it is staying on that, attack mindset or over delivering at times. I think, earlier in the year there's maybe moments that we wanted to make the picture perfect play, and now it's more of the take what's given approach, and we have guys on both groups that are more than talented enough to capitalize with having the extra player on the ice. So credit to them to buying in and letting their ability then take over and show.
Yeah, obviously great to see their success, especially over these last two critical series for you guys. Obviously a big series this weekend against Maryland, but then a quick turnaround with a midweek game on Tuesday against New Jersey, just your second midweek game of the season. How does that affect your preparation, not only for that game, but then how does that affect the rest of both this weekend against Maryland and then next weekend as well with the home and home, first of two home and homes against Danbury?
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround from Saturday to Tuesday, especially with it being on the road. Fortunate that it's within 90 minutes, but at the end of the day, every one of these games we're treating and going into like they're playoff games. That's our approach. That's our mentality. We want to be, earning that last playoff spot. So we have to approach every game, dialed in, very focused on what is our why, And as far as the quick turnaround goes, you get to this point in the year, not only are we fighting for the playoff, but less practice. Guys just want to play games at this point anyways, so it'll be a good opportunity for us as well.
All right, well, some special games as well this weekend, aesthetically against Maryland, with Rebels donning the special slap shot jersey. So in honor of that promotion, Coach, you have a favorite hockey movie of all time?
I have a few. You have to go with Slapshot that we're paying tribute to. Youngblood, the old school, Rob Lowe, Miracle. All classics. So when you're a hockey fan, it's hard not to like any of those movies.
Yeah, certainly can't go wrong with any of those, and certainly can't go wrong with seeing the Rebels in person this weekend with those slap shot jerseys here on March 21st and 22nd. 7:30 start times for both games against the Maryland Black Bears as the Rebels look to make their playoff push. Thanks so much to Coach Hale for joining us, as well as Brock Jones, Charles Panchisin, and Bryce Strand. Until next time, I'm Andrew McGuinness saying good night and go Rebels.